Hello guys, so let's continue with the radiation physics part. And in radiation physics, we'll be dealing today with your Bremsstrahlung radiation, characteristic radiation, factors that are affecting the X-ray beam, that includes your exposure time, your kVp and your milliampere, that is current, and filtration and collimation and inverse Kerr law. So all these things we'll be discussing in today's part. So first of all comes your Bremsstrahlung radiation. Fine. These are the Bremsstrahlung and characteristic are the two types of radiation that are produced by the tungsten target when the electrons hit that tungsten target. So what happens in your Bremsstrahlung radiation, that whenever a photon hits this target, that is your nucleus, what happens is that in that case, let me show you. Suppose this is an electron that is coming and that is hitting the target like this. So it is going to emit one of its electron that is present like this here, and in between it is going to release this. This is known as your X-ray. So this is a characteristic X-ray that is produced like this, and whenever the electron gets attracted towards the nucleus, because since the electron is negatively charged and the nucleus is positively charged, so the more is the atomic number, that is more is the proton present inside the nucleus, more is the attraction, and it is going to come and hit the nucleus like this. And in this procedure it is going to release a photon or an X-ray. So more is the atomic number, and the more is the its capacity to deflect the electron and to produce the X-ray. So whenever the electron comes, that comes with XYZ energy, and then that moves out with lesser energy. The difference energy is produced in the form of X-ray, that is here. So this was about your Bremsstrahlung radiation, and sometimes the electron that hits the nucleus, it produces the X-rays of the same energy. So it can either produce of the same energy, or the electron gets deflected and it produces the X-rays of a lesser energy. It depends, but this procedure is known as Bremsstrahlung radiation, and this is the way X-rays are produced, and most of the X-rays are produced by this radiation. The another method that is known as your characteristic radiation is found very less. So you can see in this diagram that most of the X-rays are produced by your Bremsstrahlung radiation, and very less X-rays are produced by your characteristic radiation. Characteristic radiation we will be discussing now, and I'll be telling you about characteristic radiation. Before that, let me read it. Electron from the filament directly hits the nucleus of the target atom, and when this happens, the kinetic energy of the electron is transformed into the X-ray of the photon. The energy of the resultant photon is numerically equal to the energy of the electron. So I have told you already that sometimes the energy of the photon that is released is lesser, and sometimes it is equal. The Bremsstrahlung radiation generates an X-ray photon with a continuous spectrum of the energy. Nothing much to be known about this. So I have told you here also, again, as the paragraph was saying, that suppose an electron with the incident energy of the X value, so it is producing the electron of the X value only. So this is the way Bremsstrahlung radiations are produced in an X-ray. Now let's come to the another one that is known as your characteristic radiation. After this, what is characteristic radiation? That when the electron is hitting the nucleus like this, for example, here you can see that this electron is hitting the nucleus. So what happens, that it is going to sorry, not the nucleus, orbit. So it is going to remove the electron from there, and when the electron is removed, the electron from the upper orbit is coming down, and in between it is releasing the energy that is equal to the binding energy of both the orbit, and in this form the X-ray is produced. So let me read it. Characteristic radiation contributes to the smaller fraction, you know this thing, and whenever the incident electron ejects an inner electron from the tungsten stump. So I have told you, from the orbit electron is moving out. The electron from the outer orbit is quickly attracted to the void. So from the outer orbit, electron will come to the inner orbit, and when the outer orbit replaces the displaced electron, some photon is generated, and the with the energy that is equal to the difference in the binding energy. Suppose two electrons are binded by x amount of energy, so the photon that will be generated will be of the energy x. Fine. So the production of characteristic radiation has no implication, and there are hardly any questions that are asked from this topic, except that how the X-rays are produced. The answer is your Bremsstrahlung radiation and the characteristic radiation. Next comes your factors that are controlling the X-ray beam, that is your exposure time, milliampere-age, KVP, filtration and collimation. So these are the 5 points you should be knowing, around which the MCQs are revolving. So let me come to the exposure time first. So as the exposure time is increased, means you are keeping the KVP constant. Suppose you have kept the KVP 70, or you have kept the current XYZ constant, but when you are going to increase the exposure time, you are sending the electrons for the more number of time to hit towards the cathode. Per second they are produced same, but the quantity but the time you are suppose in 1 second if 5 electrons are hitting the tungsten, but you are sending the electrons for the 5 minutes, you are increasing the exposure time. So as a result, exposure time will increase the production of the X-rays. So X-rays produced are more, number of photons produced are more. So exposure time is directly proportional to the number of the photons. This thing should be clear to you. So this is the question can be asked in this way only, nothing much about it. Next come milliamperes. Whenever obviously I have told you yesterday also, as the current, tube current increases, the number of electrons that are released is increases. So when the number of electrons are increased, so this is the effect of milliamperage. Means if as I have told you that if in 1 second 5 electrons are hitting the target, but if you are increasing the milliamperage, then in 1 second 10 electrons can also reach the target, as a result of which more X-rays will be produced. But the direct effect of milliamperage, that is your current, is with the number of electron. Here it is given an example also, that if you are operating at 10 milliampere for 1 second, so how much photons will be produced is your 10 milliampere for 1 second. So 10 is the amount of photons that will be produced. But if you are operating at an value of 20 milliampere, then to produce the 10 photons you have to go for lesser amount of time, that is 0.5 second. So the same number of photons are generated in the lesser amount of time if you are going to increase the current. So you just have to remember that increase in the current is going to increase the number of electrons that are reaching the tungsten target, and as a result more number of the X-rays are produced. That's it. So the current is directly proportional to the production of X-rays, and exposure time is directly proportional to the production of X-rays. If you are going to increase these parameters, X-rays are going to be increased. Next is KVP. When you are going to increase the KVP, that is when you are going to increase the voltage, what is going to happen? Obviously if the 5 electrons are coming, 5 will come. Fine, time is same, your current is same, but when you are going to increase the KVP, the energy of the electron with which they are going to hit the tungsten target is going to increase. Obviously if you are increasing the KVP, you are increasing more negatively the cathode, and more negatively is the cathode, the more will be the difference between cathode and anode, and more is the difference, with more energy electrons are going to hit the target. As a result, the energy of the electrons will be more, and the energy of the photons that are generated, the X-ray that are generated will be more, and the maximum energy of photons will be more, and mean energy of the photons will be more, and the number of photons that are generated will also be more, because more KVP means there will be no electron that would be dying in between. Every electron will go and hit the target and X-ray will be produced. So you can see that relative number of photons that are produced are more at 80 kVp, at 90 kVp, at 100 kVp. So, and mean energy is also increasing. You can see here it is like 60, here it is 75, here it is 95. So as you increase the kVp, the number of photons are generated are more, the mean energy of the photons generated is more, and the maximum energy of the photons generated is more. Clear? Next we come to filtration. Filtration is a very small topic. Filtration is a very easy topic, and in filtration you should be knowing that the filtration is going to decrease all those X-rays that are of low kVp. Low kVp means X-rays that are of low energy. Means what are these X-rays going to do that are of low energy? They are good for nothing. Why? Because they are going to cause exposure. They are going to cause fogging. They are going to cause, they are of no use. So filtration, I have told you yesterday in the X-ray machine also, that filtration is usually aluminium is used as a filter, and it is going to remove all the unwanted X-rays that are of low kVp. Low kVp means more wavelength. You should be knowing that kVp is inversely proportional to the wavelength. Fine. So filtration is going question can be asked, what is filtration aluminum filter going to do? It is going to remove all the long wavelength electrons. When you will do the MCQ, you will get this MCQ also. So let me read a few lines for you. Low energy photons that cannot reach the low energy photons that cannot reach the receptor and but contributes to the patient exposure and are not of any good benefit, and it is desirable to remove these low energy photons, and this is done by putting some metal in the path of the X-rays that are produced, and so that only your high energy or low wavelength photons can pass and make an image rather than low energy. Fine. Sorry. So normally aluminium is used as a filter. You have to remember a few values that in case of filter at a 70 kVp question can be asked how much is 1.5 mm of aluminium is enough, and another question can be asked that at a higher voltage means more than 70 kVp of about 2.5 mm of the aluminium is required. So these can be asked 1.5 and 2.5, and what is the function of filtration? That is your low kVp or more wavelength are removed. That is usually asked. And which metal is used? That is aluminium. This is a question that is usually asked. Next we come to collimation. Collimation, what is collimation going to do? Collimation is going to basically increase the image quality. Let me read for you that a collimator is a metallic barrier. Remember, it is again a metallic barrier, and it is used to shape or restrict the X-ray beam and the volume of the tissues that are radiated. So collimators are usually of the shape of the round or rectangular shape, and they are used in intraoral radiography. So you can see that this type of collimator is round and this type of collimator is square. So questions can be asked on the shape also, that what is the shape of the collimator. So normally 90% of the 90% of the X-rays that are produced, they are absorbed by your tissues. They are scattered and they cause tissue damage. Only 10% of it is what that is falling on the receptor. So to remove these 90% damage causing that are scattered over the tissue and causing the tissue damage, so to reduce them, we are going to use collimator. That is usually going to reduce the exposure, that is going to reduce the number of scattered photons that reach the image receptor, and thus in case it is going to reduce the exposure of the patient. So the basic purpose of the collimator is to reduce the exposure of the patient. Another question can be asked is your shape, and the shape can be your round or your another shape can be your rectangular. They can also ask you what is the diameter of this round collimator that is used. That is very well given, 2.75 inches or 7 centimeter, I have told you. So this can be asked regarding this your collimation. Fine. So this was a easy topic, and let me tell you that here it is saying that 90% of the photons are going to be absorbed and 10% is only going to reach the receptor, and that is going to cause scattering, and these are going to degrade the image quality, and collimating of the beam thereby reduces the number of scattered photon and reaching the image receptor, resulting in reduced patient exposure and improved images. Next comes your inverse square law. Inverse square law says I1 upon my I2 is equal to d2 square upon my d1 square. So regarding it, the questions that can be asked are very simple. If this is the intensity, this is the distance, then at this distance what intensity is required. So out of the four values, what they can do is they can either remove this or this, and they can ask you numerically. Like here they have given an example that if it is a the dose is 4 gray, distance is 1, then 1 gray would be efficient at how much distance, or they can give another unit that 0.25 gray would be efficient at how much distance. So you have to remember simple numerical formula, that is I1 upon my I2 is equal to d2 square upon my d1 square, and upon the basis of it many questions can be solved. So here we come to the end, and let me summarize it, that we are clear with the exposure time. The questions that we are clear with the exposure time. The question that can be asked is very clear, that with the increase in the exposure what is going to happen, and we are clear with your um, that with the increase in the exposure more electrons are going to be produced. With the increase in the milliamperage, more electrons, more x-rays are going to be produced. With the increase in the kVp, obviously more electrons, more photons, but more mean energy of the photons also. And what is filtration going to do? Aluminum is used. What is collimation going to do? A metal barrier is used. What is the diameter of that? So these are the questions that can be asked. Bremsstrahlung and characteristic radiation, very less questions on it, not much. And we are also done with your inverse square law, clear with the collimation, filtration, factors that are affecting milliamperage, kVp, and your exposure time, Bremsstrahlung radiation and characteristic radiation. So these things are comes under your radiation physics. I hope so I have completed the chapter nicely with you. 1 or 2 points are left. So in the end, winners are not the people who never fail, but they are the people who never quit. Quitting is never advisable from anybody's side. You should keep on trying, keep on working hard for your goals, and just make sure, just try that this is your last revision for your NEET. This is the last time you are preparing for the NEET. Please don't even dream of that, okay, I'll sit next year also for the preparation. It is very, very traumatic. Just do the things as fast you can. Just enter the college as fast you can. And those who dream of becoming a radiologist, this is a good subject for you. Do it with heart, because it is going to help you for your whole life. Fine. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.